The astrology of the TikTok ban, I fear. Power is a curious thing, my lord. So a lot of people are going off of the assumption that the TikTok ban is going to be enacted on the 19th of January. Let's look at what the astrology is saying, because we have the sun entering Aquarius on the 19th later in the afternoon, and it's going to be exactly conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Now, this is going to be the first Aquarius season that we have where Pluto is permanently in Aquarius for the next 20 years, right? So this is very significant. This Aquarius season is going to have the theme of massive overturnings, right? And that can be legally, that can be politically, that can be interpersonally, right? Pluto-Sun conjunctions, right, are about those reversals. It's about an intensity, an increase in the dramatics. If it sounds dramatic, it's because it is. Pluto is a very dramatic planet. It's very destructive. It's a very upsetting planet. And so conjunct the sun, which is literally what we revolve around. The sun is a very illuminating force. The sun is an uncovering force. So nothing can escape the sun's rays. Okay. So when we are having a sun Pluto conjunction in the sign of Aquarius, right, we're dealing with an uncovering of some type of secret, mysteries, right? Some type of interrogation, some type of investigation, that is sparked. Okay. So that is what a sun Pluto conjunction in Aquarius is going to look like. This is a very highly charged, very highly potent energy. And it's extremely ironic that this is happening on the day that they claim TikTok is getting banned, because the TikTok ban discussions since 2023 have been following the Pluto and Aquarius transit very interestingly. Okay. Back in 2023, when the first hearing started, I believe was the day that Pluto had entered Aquarius. Now that was not when Pluto entered Aquarius permanently, but that's when we started with Pluto in Aquarius and then retrograding back into Capricorn until November 19th, when Pluto officially entered Aquarius. If you're following here, if you're following, that's wonderful. If you're not following, what I'm trying to tell you is that the TikTok ban has been almost reflected in the Pluto in Aquarius energy. This is really interesting to me. Pluto in Aquarius conjunct the sun in Aquarius the day that this is set to happen is also giving me this sense of power, right? This is a very powerful conjunction. So this could be indicating some form of an increase in influence of power, right? Someone gaining a new sense of power, right? Or some type of power struggle that is indicated. Now, this increase in power could be making positive transformations, or it could be making negative transformations, right? It's really just about how this manifests, right? And so we'll just have to kind of play it by ear. However, my interpretation of this is that this is all very much giving me, if the TikTok ban does go through, it's likely to be overturned within the following weeks. Or what I think is more likely, because of the Sun-Pluto conjunction, it's giving me kind of shocking, this is actually not going to be happening, or it's going to be a pause. So I'm not trying to feed anyone's delusions, but we also have Mars retrograde in Cancer. Now, when a decision is made in Mars with Mars retrograde, I always just don't take it seriously, because when Mars is retrograde, we do have that red light, green light energy. It's very hard to get projects off the ground long term under Mars retrograde energy. So that's what this is. That's something that I do also want to point out. This whole situation happening during Mars retrograde, I've always kind of been giving that side eye, because that indicates to me that, let's say the TikTok ban does go through on the 19th, it's likely to somehow be reversed. Now, I'm not going to say exactly how that happens, because I understand that that could not happen because someone buys the app, it gets sold, or the Supreme Court decides to pause and kind of push it off, basically, which I think would be the best decision. Or both, that would be the happiest scenario would obviously be that the Supreme Court miraculously decides that on the 19th, actually, we're throwing this out. We're not doing this. I don't even know if that's even a possible situation. But to be honest, under Aquarius energy, now that we have Pluto in Aquarius, right, everyone thinks that we're in this new age. Okay. So this could be marking either this new age of this kind of new regime, this new precedent that is set. So I've described the kind of more positive outcome, right? The more negative outcome and the more negative, darker interpretation of this Sun-Pluto conjunction in Aquarius, right, is that on the other side of things, with Sun-Pluto conjunctions, what can also happen is almost a uncovering of, we're kind of taking the garbage out. We're having to almost look at a magnifying glass of all of the darker, sinister, more malicious things, right, that we would rather ignore. We detest it, right? These uglier parts of ourselves, of the country, of politics, of the government, right? All of these things are becoming illuminated. All of those things are being uncovered, are being unearthed, if you will. So this Sun-Pluto conjunction of Aquarius could also be saying this is the new precedent. This is the new regime. This is the new empire where these types of things can happen, where apps can just be banned and wiped off the face of the earth because of these political reasons, right? So that could also be the manifestation of this energy, where with Aquarius, we do deal with that authoritative energy because this is Saturnian energy. And where is Saturn right now? It is in Pisces and it is conjunct Venus, right? And the day of the 19th, the moon will be in Libra, so it's going to be ruled by this Venus-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, which I find very, very interesting. This is also where this is also kind of tying into Mars retrograde, because the Mars retrograde is ruled by the moon in Libra, and then we have the moon in Libra ruled by this Venus-Saturn conjunction that's happening here. Now, with this going on, I do again get an energy here with this heavy Saturnian energy of something being drawn out. Okay, of something being lengthened, the duration, a delay of some kind. That's the energy that you get with Saturn. Saturn is all about delays. If you're someone who has heavy Saturnian energy, you understand this. It's almost like every time you have a moment of joy, you're almost rained on, and you kind of just have to start. It's like living in London. You just got to start to love the rain. You just gotta have to get used to the cloudy days. So that's kind of what it's giving, is that frustrations are brought up and they're kind of bubbling over, right, with this Mars retrograde in Cancer. That's what this is giving. And we're going to be feeling that energy this week with the full moon in Cancer starting the week off on Monday, the moon's day, and it's going to be present with this Mars retrograde. So this week until the 19th, we're going to be really feeling a lot of these frustrations boiling over. There's likely going to be a lot of people kind of speaking up and expressing themselves in terms of how they feel about this, whether it's negative, whether it's positive. What I really want to get at is the energy of Pluto and Aquarius, which is all about soul evolution. It's all about, with the sun being activated in this Sun-Pluto conjunction, right? These activations that are happening, it's about working from the ground up. So this is going to change things no matter what, whether the app does get banned or it doesn't. This is going to be a turning point, right? And obviously, my interpretation mainly is that this is likely to probably go through and then get reversed. That's really what happens during a Mars retrograde, is it's very hard to set things into stone, because right now we're making edits. We're crossing things off the list, and we're saying, okay, this is how we can do this better. This is how we can do this differently. It's very much a start and stop. It's very much about making changes. It's not necessarily about trying to make a permanent change. Trying to make a permanent change during this Mars retrograde is something that is honestly so ridiculous and a waste of everyone's time. That's how all this feels to me, is that all of this to me, in terms of this happening within the Supreme Court, it just feels like a waste of everyone's time and energy when we could be focusing on much more serious things. And Aquarius is an energy of togetherness. It's an energy of the collective and community. So either way, this is going to bring people together in a sense of either we're going to ensure that this does not happen again, or it's also, we're coming into a higher level of awareness about how these things can. We barely, like, this is a new reality that we're facing. And either way, this energy is saying for the disempowered to kind of sober up and realize that the impossible can be made possible by people in power. So